So we all know that food has the power to bring people together. But I believe that a mom who makes good food can be an extremely powerful force that helps to keep a family together. Because let's face it, it doesn't matter if you're having peanut butter and jelly. It doesn't matter if you're making a couple eggs with some toast or a big old turkey dinner with all the fixins. There's always love in that food. And so anytime we're eating, no matter what we're eating, we're getting love. And we always knew we were. And that is one of the best things about food. And one of the best things about eating your food when we were growing up. And that's important because obviously families are going to have their ups and downs, right? There's always, that's a normal thing for a family. You're all got to move through life together, and sometimes things happen. Life happens. And you don't always see eye to eye. Take Stu, for example. Now, growing up, I'm pretty sure it was Dad that would request this most of the time, right? And that's why there was no backing out of it. Dad would request pot roast or stew. And so when I would ask what we're having for supper, and that would be the answer, how would I react, Mom? You remember? Probably a pretty good idea. Probably not real positive, huh? However, in my defense, I did have a mom who could make tacos. I had a mom who could have made spaghetti. I had a mom who could make pizza or a Mexican hot dish, huh? But of course, as we get older, things change. Obviously, we start seeing more eye to eye on a lot of things, and areas where we would differ, we tend to agree. Well, Dad has requested stew again. And so we are going to do that. However, to be honest, what I actually did was make a pot roast. But just hear me out here. So if you take a pot roast and you put it on a plate, I think it remains a pot roast. But if you have a pot roast and you put that pot roast in a bowl, well, I think you have yourself a stew. At least that's what we're going with for this one, because I had already done this when Dad requested it. So we are doing pot roast / stew. We'll put it in a bowl. Hope that works. So here we go.
Are you ready for my grand creation? Get ready to be wowed.
So, we got the mirepoix, got your celery, your carrots. I just had baby carrots on hand, so that's what we're using. Got the onions and whatnot. As you can see, we already got the meat all seared off, ready to go. But this is everything that's going to be going in there. Then we have here we have a close-up of the meat seared in the pot. Again, the big old cast iron. So what I do is once I sear it off, I put bigger chunks of onion, maybe the tops of the onions that I cut off, and also bigger chunks of celery. I put those on the bottom to kind of keep it up off the bottom of the cast iron, just so it gets good coverage and cooks more evenly, I think. So here's that, all the vegetables cut up in the pot. I also used some beef base, less than maybe a cup of wine tops. I think it was less than a cup of wine because you don't really need a whole lot of extra moisture in there. And then some rosemary and some thyme. And don't ask me why that sesame oil is in the background there. I got photobombed by that thing. That is not in the recipe, so don't have to worry about that. We're not doing some fusion here. And then we have a nice close-up of those beautiful vegetables that I used to despise in the pot. That looks good. And so we put that in the oven. I think it was at 250 for a couple hours, and we yank it out because at this point, it is time to put in the potatoes and the cabbage. So as you can see, we're getting some action. It's cooking well. Obviously, the colors change a little bit, but it's taking shape, looking pretty good. So then we're going to add the potatoes. I like big chunks of potatoes. Also looks good in a nice bolus too. Some big hearty potatoes in there. And I like to put them at this point because I don't want them mushy. And I also cut them this big also so they don't overcook too quickly, because I like them to have a little bit of a bite at the end. You want them to be soft, but not overly soft that they're just falling apart and becoming part of the broth. And then cabbage, another thing I couldn't even imagine eating, but definitely like some cabbage now. That goes over the top. And again, same thing with this. I don't want it to overcook, so I'm throwing it in At this point, it actually forms like another lid almost, like an insulator over the top of it. And we throw that in the oven for another, I think it went in for another couple hours. It might have been 5 hours or so altogether. And you end up with a nice big old pot of stew. Or if you prefer, you have more time, you go the Irish cuisine route.
Irish cuisine. What are we famous for cuisine-wise? We put everything in a pot and we boil it for 17 and a half hours straight until you can eat it with a straw. Thanks, Ma.
So the only thing left to do now is to take this pot roast and turn it into a stew. And to do that, we just throw it in a bowl. And there we are. Look at that. Man, that looks good, doesn't it? Just kind of want to jump in there. Whoosh. So I was thinking about maybe freezing some of it, but we didn't really get a chance to do that. We took it home to the cabin and demolished it there as well. So we tore it up for the next couple days and didn't even get a chance to save any of it. That's okay. That just gives me a chance to do it all over again some point. But there you go. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you like that, Dad. It was for you too, of course. Hope that qualifies. I don't know. You let me know. Is it does it breach that fine line between pot roast and stew? You have to tell me. But thanks a lot. See, now we can all enjoy this together. Back when I was younger, not so much. So, love you guys. See you in the next one. Bye.